Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade here. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. Next in our strategy series is the UK. Now the UK is probably my favorite nation to play. I like playing on both sides of the board. I like being part of all of the action. The US is like that too. It plays on both sides of the board, but it takes them a few turns to get into the fight though. The UK is right in the fight right away, and it's on both sides of the board. And I just like I like it, I find it interesting that how they move and where they're set up, and it's not straightforward. Like here in Russia and Germany, like it's pretty straightforward. You're just coming after each other, and it's mostly ground attacks. Germany, I mean, they can do some naval movements, but really they're fairly limited unless you decide to deviate from the plan, in which case you're taking your units away from attacking Russia. You can build a navy, you know, but it's not probably the best thing to do. The best thing to do is either just to go after the UK or to go after Russia. So, and Japan's a lot of fun. I mean, they get into it with boats and on the land, and so they're a lot of fun. But the UK is my favorite nation to play, and so I'm going to enjoy this. We're going to set up, and I'm going to show you what I would do as the UK player. Earlier today, I made a video on the US, and I showed you how I would play the US, and so this strategy that we're using with the UK, it goes in concert with the US strategy. You kind of need it if you're playing with two different players. You kind of need to talk about this beforehand. You need to divvy up the workload between the two of you. Between those two players and the Russia player, you're doing most of the heavy lifting. Anzac and France, of course, they're on the team as well, but they're just bit players, and they're not really part of any grand strategy. Anzac a little more than France, and China as well. China and France are just basically hanging on for dear life and seeing how long they can last in the game. But and Russia, they're pretty much on their own. They're just going to try to stop Germany as much as possible. But the UK and Great Britain, or sorry, the UK and the USA, they are going to be the ones who are doing the attacking, the counter-attacking, the ones that are going after Germany or Japan. And so that they need to work closely together, even though they're not working even on the same, anywhere close to each other. There's jobs that they each need to do. So the first thing you need to know about the UK is that you have to hold on to your capital. And you have two capitals as the UK. You have London here, which is the capital of the UK on the Europe side of the board. And you have India down here, which is the capital on the Pacific side of the board. And you can lose either one of your capitals and the other one will still be active. If you lose the India capital, that's much less devastating than losing your UK capital. You get more money on the UK side of the board, and they're more useful. In India there, you're just going to build a wall and hang on as for dear life. Try to stop the Japanese player from rolling through you and into the Middle East. Hopefully you can do that. But in the UK, that's where you're going to make all your hay. Now what you're looking at here, it looks pretty formidable, but the German player goes before you. So you're going to lose these boats here, most likely, and you're going to lose these boats down here as well as the French player losing his cruiser as well. So those boats are not going to be there. You're probably going to have these boats, and you may or may not have these boats over here. You probably have this cruiser down here, but maybe not either. I mean, the German player can't take out absolutely everything, so they're probably going to concentrate on getting these three and these three here. That would be the best move for them. Anything else, and they're going to start stretching themselves pretty thin. So let's assume that they're going to be able to take those 6 boats out of there, and yeah, let's just assume that that's what's going to happen. And let's assume too that This sub's going to come over here and attack these two boats. So let's just take these two off the board. So let's say it's a saw off there. It could go either way. It could be that you're left with both of these boats, or it could be that you're left with none of them and there's a sub on, or it could be that everybody's gone. It just depends on what happens in that battle there. Let's just say that these guys hit each other on the first shot and they're off, okay? And then we're going to take off these boats. And I don't know what they're going to lose, but they're going to lose a bunch. Let's just say that they're going to take all of these off. And let's, what the heck, let's leave them with one sub and a damaged battleship. Okay, so that's about what it's going to look like. I mean, it might look a little better, or it might look a little worse for the UK and for Germany. They may or may not have lost some planes. One way or another, that doesn't matter with us and what we do with our strategy. Probably what's going to happen is the Germans then are going to put on some boats here, and they're going to bring these boats over here. And so they're faking a sea lion attack. A sea lion is the name of the operation that the Germans designed to attack London with, but they never did do it. So that doesn't mean that you can't do it in this game if you're the German player. So you want to defend against that, because during the German turn, they're going to probably take France and take 19 IPCs off them, and they should be collecting around 70 IPCs at the end of the first turn. So they can definitely put on a shit ton of transports and ground units and attack the UK by turn 3. So we need to guard against that before we do anything. So that's going to inform our purchases. So that's what it's going to look like up here. Something like that after Germany takes their turn. But we're going to be playing most of the game on the other side of the board down there. So let's just go down there. We'll head over there. You can take a little look at the world here, flying around. Plus we want to come down here because my coffee's down here. And it's still morning over here. So hang on. Oh, that's good. Okay, so this is where we're going to play most of the game. This is my base of operations for the UK. Right down here in the Indian Ocean, the Middle East and India and Africa, and that's where I play the game as the British player. But there's some things we need to take care of before we do that. And first things first, we need to purchase our units. And I was mentioning the sea lion attack there. You get 28 IPCs as the British player on the Europe side of the board. So this is what we're buying right there. 6 infantry and a fighter. Those are good defense, and those are all going on the UK, on London, at the end of our turn here. These guys, they buy separate. They get 17 IPCs. And really what you want to do there is you want to buy infantry. So let's just buy 3 infantry for them over there. And you can see they're not the same guys. I'm using British soldiers over here on the UK side, and over here I'm using Gurkhas. They're East Indian soldiers, so it's a little different. It was my birthday this past week, and so my mom bought me some little army men for my birthday, and I think they're pretty cool. So we're just going to buy 3 infantry and save $8. I'm not usually in the habit of saving IPCs, but this time I'm going to try it this time, because I want to try to buy as many infantry units on the second turn as I can. What we want to do here on this side is we want to stop Japan. Japan is going to be much more powerful than us, and they're going to try to take out China up there. They're going to take out America over there in the Philippines. They're going to try to take the Money Islands down here. They're probably going to take out this battleship. And they're going to take out Hong Kong, and they're going to put a complex somewhere along the coast there. And they're going to be able to build a lot faster than us. They're going to be able to collect a lot more money than the UK on the Pacific side of the board. So we want to just play defense on that side. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it in a smart way, and I'm going to show you that as the game progresses. right now for our strategy, all we're going to do is we're just going to buy those 3 infantry and save $8. So, what do we do for attack moves? Well, the first order of business for us, the Mediterranean is our job to clear. Just as the German player cleared out the boats, the battleships and everything around London, around the UK, we need to clear out the Mediterranean Sea, and that's this land or water body right here. I'm sure you know that, but that's what we want to do, is we want to clear that of all those brown boats. If we have any left over, fine. If we don't, then that's okay. It's good to have some left over, because that means we're going to be taking off some more units from them. Likely what's going to happen there by the time our turn comes along, is they will have a German fighter as well sitting in here. If you're playing against a quality player, that's probably what they're going to do. Otherwise, the Mediterranean, when your turn comes around, is going to look just like that. So we can't take all of those boats out at once. So what do we attack first? There was a raid back in the Second World War. It was called the Taranto Raid, and what it was they attacked these boats right here. And they used an aircraft carrier to do it, and it was a very successful raid. And so that's what we want to do as the UK player in this game too. And the reason we want to do that is because of this battleship. Once this battleship gets a whole bunch of other boats built around it, like if we don't take these boats out now, they're all just going to go to the same space and converge. And then when we go to attack them, then the battleship's the last thing they're going to lose, and so we likely will not get them, not anytime soon. We might not get them for the rest of the game. Certainly we won't get them for the first 3 or 4 or 5 turns, and we're going to spend a ridiculous amount of resources just clearing out the Mediterranean, whereas we should be able to do it if we start with the Taranto Raid. We should be able to do it by the end of the second turn. There should be no brown boats there in the Mediterranean anymore. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take the bulk of this fleet here. We don't need the transport. The transport can't help us. If we could just use them as cannon fodder, we'd probably take them in there, but that's not going to happen. The transport has to be the last thing you take off, and he doesn't get to fight. In the original Axis Now as a game, you could do that, and they defended at 1, but not in this game. So we're just going to put the stuff right here, because we can't fit everything in this sea zone, but everything is going in here. We're just going to put it here for us. So here we go. We're going to take all 3 of these, the cruiser, the destroyer, the aircraft carrier, the tactical bomber, and we have this fighter here on the island of Malta. He's going to go 1, 2 into there. So let's just put him in this sea zone as well. Now that's not going to be enough. That would be about even if we were to go like that, but we want to go even more because of these planes here. That was one of the reasons the German brought their fighter in there. If all we went at them was this, then they could scramble these 3 fighters into this sea zone here, and they would have a much greater advantage against us. They would be rolling 1 at 3 and 4 at 4, and we would only be rolling 1 at 2, 2 at 3, and 1 at 4. So they got us outgunned there big time. So we need to do better than that. And what we can do to do that is we're going to bring down a couple of planes from the UK. We're going to bring down the bomber, and rather than me showing you, I'll just tell you, it takes 5 spaces to get there from the UK. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're in this zone here. Let's just put them over here. These guys are all in Sea Zone 97. And we're going to bring a fighter down, and we're going to put it in there. Now, the reason we can bring a fighter down is because you've got an air base up there, so you can go 5 spaces with the fighter. You have to have a legal landing space. This carrier here in this zone provides you with that legal landing space. You just have to make sure when you're taking units off, when you're losing units, that if you lose the aircraft carrier, then you lose this fighter too. Don't lose this fighter. This one came from Malta. You can still land that fighter easily, but you can't land this one if you don't have an aircraft carrier. So that's what we're bringing in there. Now what else are we going to do? Well, if we could go against these, we would, but we don't really have enough left over after we did that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to go against these boats. There's a destroyer here, and there's a transport here. We can take them out, and then with on our next turn, we will try to get those other 4 boats out. We'll hopefully still have a lot of Air Force left over. We're bringing more planes from India, so we're going to hopefully have a lot of planes around the Mediterranean, and we will be able to do that. So the next one is the Sea Zone 96. We have a cruiser here, probably still going to be there. That submarine that went after Sea Zone over in New Brunswick there and took out the destroyer. He could come to this Sea Zone if he wanted instead, but it's not a very good attack for him. The odds are not very good. So we're probably going to have this still. So we're going to bring that over. And we also have a fighter here. He can go 1, 2, 3, and then he can land on Malta afterwards. There's an island underneath this guy there. He's not just standing on the water. So that's what we're going to do. Then we've got the odds there. We've got 2 at 3 and they have 1 at 2 in defense. Hopefully we can retain that cruiser. He's going to have 1 shot at taking that cruiser off. Now, there's a lot of people do things differently when it comes to, like, that's a pretty standard attack for the Mediterranean, but a lot of people do things differently when it comes to the land. And I'm very specific in what I do with the land, and I can tell you I'm also very, very successful. And because I do things in a specific order. Now, a lot of people, they want to take out Tobruk. There's a lot to be said for that. If you take out Tobruk, then they're probably not going to get Egypt. But you know what? I don't care about losing Egypt. I know that I'm going to have enough forces that by the time they get to Egypt, they're not going to have much left. And when they do get there, I'm going to have enough to take it back. And there's a reason why, and there's a method to my madness, and you just have to play along with me here, and I'll show you. Now you can see there's a couple of Anzac guys in there. They're not going to move off of Egypt. They're going to be there, and they're going to absorb hits, and they're going to take off whoever they can. So we've got the sub-Saharan Africa here. There's the Sahara right there. That's an impassable zone. So down below there's these units here. I think actually we're missing a guy from Ethiopia here. Pretty sure. So let's put that guy on there. Now, we could go after Ethiopia, and that wouldn't be a bad idea either. We could go back after Tobruk and Ethiopia, but Africa is not first on my list. First on my list is the Mediterranean and over here, the Middle East. That is what I want the first turn, and I'll show you why. So we're going to ignore these guys down here. We're just going to play defense. Instead, we're going to use all of these and just play defense, and we're going to let the Italians think that they're lucky, that they've got us on the run. That's fine. They can do that. They can even take Egypt on the second or third turn. I promise you, we will get it back. So we're going to take this transport here that we did not use. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, because there is a naval base here. We can go 3 spaces with that, right? So we're going to bring this tank, and we're going to bring, who should we bring, this guy or this? Let's bring this guy. And they're going to go on that transport. They're going to come around. They're going to Iraq. This is a pro-axis neutral, so we have to attack him. So we can bring those guys over. Then we've got this thing here. Now there's a there's a bridge here, so you can go across there. So you got 1, 2. We're going to go with those guys. So we've got those 3 units in there. Now we move up here. We've got these things here. 1, 2. You cannot fly over top of neutral territory. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they can land in Transjordan, or they can land in Syria. So we're going to bring those, and we're going to bring those. And you're thinking, whoa, we don't want to be taking our planes off of India. Don't worry about it. India, you will be able to build an air force there before the Japanese reach you. We're just going to bring these planes over now because we're doing, like I said, we're doing everything in a very specific order here. So that's going to be an attack move. The other moves that we're going to do are actually non-combat moves. Let me just take a look, make sure we've done everything. I think we have. Yeah, like if we could attack more, we would, but we can't. So this is what we're doing for our attack moves. So let's assume that we can take this out. Let's take off this and this just to be generous. But we are going to take that. So let's put our pie on there. Now, the Taranto Raid, it varies. I've played it a number of times and it varies. Let's take these boats off, because that's probably what'll happen. Let's say these guys don't want to scramble because of that, so you're actually going to have a bit left. I'm just trying to think. You know what? Let's just roll this, okay? Because I don't want to be accused of saying, oh, that would have never happened. So let's just grab some dice here. Where's my dice trays? Let's just roll that attack. Just to show you that it's quite possible to take it out. And if I don't make it, then I'll have to start the movie over again. Okay. But we're going to make it, don't worry. We've taken enough stuff. So, they can bring in those things if they want, or they can leave them. It's up to them. Let's say they're not going to bring them in. So, we have a destroyer at 2. We missed. Then we have a cruiser and 2 fighters. That's 3. At 3, we got 2 hits. And then we have a bomber and a tactical bomber at 4. So 3 hits plus 2. So that's 5 hits. 5 hits we've got. Now this is why they chose, with the amount of stuff we brought. Now when a lot of people, they don't want to bring that extra fighter down from the UK, but this is why you do bring it, is we have 5 hits now on there. So the battleship will take 2 hits, that's 3, and you would have lost 2 planes on here if you would have scrambled. So when let's roll back there. They've got 1 at 3 and 1 at 4. That's a miss on 3, and at 4, that's a hit. Okay, so these guys have got 1 hit against them. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they did roll those 3 fighters and they got 2 more hits. So 3 hits. So you could lose 1, 2, and you could lose a fighter. You don't want to damage the aircraft carrier, because then you won't be able to land your fighter on it. So you can make a choice. But anyway, that's why I would not scramble those fighters in there, because you did bring that extra plane. So let's just say they didn't, and you've only got 1 hit on them. And let's just take off the destroyer. And these guys all lost. See, if I was before I rolled there, I was just going to take more, but I'm not going to. But you know what? Let's just be generous, okay? Let's take off this cruiser as well, because you might get 2 hits against you. So this is what you're left with here. Now you can choose, the fighter has to land there, right? But the tactical bomber does not have to land there. So you've got to ask yourself, do I want to be defensive there? Do I want to try to take out more? Or do I want to hang on to my Air Force? Because the Italian and the German player could not let this live until the next British turn, because it will escape. So they have to take that out. Now you're going to take out boats, you're going to take out planes, or maybe even boats. Like, they can bring the boats in there and they can bring their Air Force in there, but they also want to take out this cruiser, right? So what are they going to do? So that's why you decide, okay, do I want to leave my tactical bomber or not? Let's just say, let's take it off of there. Okay, now that's got to land on here. This has got to land on here. This has got to land on here. And we've got this left. And we've got the cruiser left. Okay, so the Mediterranean worked out very well for us. We might not have ended up that well, but we would have taken that out. We would have taken both places out. I promise you that. Unless you had the worst rolling, and I tell you, if you got the worst rolling, there isn't a strategy in the world that's going to help you. You're just going to lose. We're finished our attack moves. Now our non-combat moves. We have these 2 guys down here. So let's just move both of them up to Rhodesia. And then this guy, we're going to leave him right there. let's move our artillery piece back here and this one back here. See, we're going to lose this anyway, so we might as well save our artillery while we're at it, right? You know, because we have these two boats here, we know that those boats can't get through to attack Egypt, so we can bring this guy down here if we want to help out with that defense, or we can just leave him where he is. Let's bring him down, make it a little harder for the Italians to take this out. They could still, like, if we don't bring them down, then they could probably take that out pretty easily, but let's just do that. Now these planes here, we have to land them, so let's land them. This is why I brought the artillery over. We don't want to just leave planes empty like that. Okay, now the next part is over here, our non-combat movement. We're going to bring a Gurkha from West India, and we're going to take that. You just get a couple pies here. We're going to need 2 of them. So we're going to take that. Then we're going to take this transport over here, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to bring 2 things. Let's bring this, because we're this is all defense over here, and this would be better offense. This is no better than an infantry for defense, so let's take it, and we're going to bring it to Persia, and we're going to bring let's bring this dude here. He reminds me of Martha's Madman, if you remember the song, or if you've ever heard the song Martha's Madman by the Manfred Mann's Earth Band, and he had a bejeweled a curved dagger with a bejeweled handle, and that's him right there. He's got a curved dagger, that Gurkha. So we're bringing those over, and we're annexing that, and that means we're going to take off this red guy, who you see here, the silhouette there. There's 2 guys there, so I like to put people on there, old soldiers that I painted red. There, that's what this is going to look like, and we got that. So now, you take a look at this, and we could have taken out Tobruk, which was worth 1 IPC. We could have taken out Ethiopia, which is 1 IPC. What we did instead was we took out the Middle East, and we did it for a reason. This is worth 2, this is worth 2, so that's 4 IPCs that we're up. And the next turn, we want to put an industrial complex on Persia. That's really why we wanted to take all of this out. We did not want to give them the option of doing some kind of crazy move where they're taking Turkey and then they're ready to bust into the Middle East. We want to take the Middle East before they can get there. We want the complex on before they can get there. We want to be strong before they can get there. There is nothing that anybody in this game can do to stop you from doing what I just did there. That is an easy attack. That is the entire Middle East taken right there. The only thing they can do now, if they want to throw a monkey wrench into your plan now, is they can do a sea lion attack, but we're doing the best we can against that. I mean, we can't do any more than putting this stuff on up there, and that's what we're doing. Another non-combat move that we're going to do. We've got this transport here. Let's take that transport over here, and let's bring 2 units and put them in Great Britain. Now these 2 here, you could bring them back, but I like to use them. So we can go 3 spaces. If we go now, we can escape. So we're here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Now these things here, at the end of the 3rd turn, let me just show you here what's going to happen. That's the 1st turn, right? Then we can go 2 spaces, 1, 2. Then the 3rd turn, we can go 2 spaces, that's 1, 2. So we're sitting right where we want to be with that transport on the 3rd turn. We need 3 transports down here for my strategy to work. That's 1 transport, there's 2 transports. So we did not even have to buy a transport to make this plan work. And there's nobody that can stop you from doing any of this. I mean, they could have attacked those boats up there if they wanted to. That's fine if they want to do that. I mean, you can always buy a $7 transport. So, but you know, the fact that we were able to save a destroyer as well is good, because instead of spending all our money on boats, we're going to spend it on ground units and the infrastructure that we need to make this plan work. So, have we done everything? We can move this this fighter down to here. This is okay right now. Depending on what Japan has done, you know what? Let's just move 1 more guy up here. there's two theories of thought. You can just go back here and you can turtle, but what I like to do, and I'll show you that right now. I was going to show it to you afterwards, but I'll show it to you now, is keep them 3 spaces away. You got to keep the Japanese from taking out Yunnan here and from taking out Shan State. And the reason for that is this complex here. This is a major complex. So they can bring their bombers in here. It takes them 3 spaces. If, let's say they're sitting in Siam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have to be able to land, right? But they can't bring fighters in from here or here or here. They have to be 2 spaces away to bring fighters in. Now we're planning on putting fighters right here and to be interceptors in strategic bombing raids. If we can put 4 or 5 fighters here and keep them away from us, then then the only thing they're going to be able to bring in there are strategic bombers, and that's it. And that's going to be precarious for them, because first they got to make it through the fighters, and then they got to make it through the anti-aircraft gun on the complex. And that's not going to last forever. They're going to overwhelm us. They're going to overwhelm the ground troops. But if we can do for an extra turn or two, if we can keep them off of Yunnan, if we can keep them off of Shan State, then we can keep them from bombing our factory. Or we can at least give ourselves a good chance at taking bombers off of there and not losing fighters. This battleship, let's assume that it's been taken out, and let's say that they did a J1 attack. So let's lose this battleship. We're probably not going to have that. But our other boats, let's just move them all here. We've got one down here in South Africa. Let's go 1, 2. We'll bring him up to C zone 81 because he's handy up there. If they were to leave boats down here, we want to get as many up here as we can, and that's why we've got our planes around here, because we're going to be able to take out those brown boats down there at the end of the next turn. So that's how it sits here at the end of this turn. We're going to put our stuff on. So we're putting on 3 dudes here, and we're going to put our 6 dudes and our fighter up in London, up there. So that looks pretty formidable up there. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 if you include the French. 12 infantry, 3 fighters, 4 anti-aircraft guns, tank, mechanized infantry. That's pretty good defense for now. We can't do any better than that, really. So we're going to go with that. Now, next turn. Everybody's going to take their turn and everything, and I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, that Germany has not done a J1 attack, but they're going to go back here so they can get their battleship repaired. They're going to bring this back, and they're going to do whatever. They're going to put a whole bunch of stuff on, and it's going to look pretty ominous, and the Russian player is going to be shitting their pants after this turn. But that's not our problem. We've got our own job to do. Now we've taken care of the UK. Now it's our turn. Our turn to have some fun. So this is what we're going to purchase for the UK player. Let's just count up what we probably lost over here. Now we probably lost this. So that's 4 IPCs. And we probably lost this. That's 7 IPCs. So they're probably only collecting 10 IPCs as the Pacific UK. So, but we saved 2 IPCs. Or sorry, we saved, what did we save there? We saved 8. And we're collecting 10 at the end of our first turn. See, that's why I wanted to save those, because I want to put on as much dudes as I can. So that means we can afford to buy 6. We have 18 IPCs. We can afford to buy 6 for the UK Pacific, and then probably what we're going to have here, we can collect our national objective of 5 IPCs, because the Italians haven't gone yet. So let's just say for the Italians, what they're going to do is take this off. Let's take one of their dudes off too, and then they'll take that out. And then down here, let's say they do get these guys off. And they get this guy. So we've lost a few IPCs there. That's probably what's going to happen. That's usually what happens when I play this strategy. Let me just grab some things to help us mark that off. Some Italian roundels, or pies as I like to call them. We don't know, like they might have, let's be generous and say they were able to keep this one. So, and let's take this guy off too. Let's say they got Tunisia as well. So that's probably what it looks like for when we're coming into our second turn. So what we collected last time was we were up 4, and we collect a national objective of 5. That's 9, and we start with 28, so that's 37. So this is what we can purchase here for the UK side. Let's get these off of here. Let's put them over here. Keep them separate from the other side. We're going to purchase a complex, a minor complex, that's 12, and that's 27, so we have 10 more dollars. Now, we're going to take a look at how to spend that extra $10. If we need the air support up in Great Britain, or if we need more dudes up there, then we're going to do that. If they bought nothing but 10 transports, then we're putting nothing but dudes onto UK. We're going to put as many as we can on there. But that's, with what we have on there, that's not likely. So what we're going to purchase is this, but if they do have more planes, if they do have more boats, then we'll think about putting something up there. What we're going to do instead is we're going to buy a fighter. That's 37 IPCs right there. We want lots of fighters, remember, for India. So it'll take us a while to fly it there, but we don't need it there for another 2 turns anyway, probably. So that's what we're buying. Now, on the second turn, we're still not worried too much about these guys. Like I said, we're going to do everything in a specific order. You remember these guys, we just ignored them on the first turn? Well, now it's time to take them out. We have a cruiser over here, so he can do a landing shot. We have 2 transports over here, so they can come in. Next on our order of business is taking out the Mediterranean and taking out Africa. Let's lose these things up here as well. The cruiser and the aircraft carrier. And let's lose the French boats. And let's lose these boats. And let's bring down a dude. And this is about as well as they could possibly do at the end of their turn. I showed you their attacks. Let's just say this is as well as they could possibly do. The Italian player will be lucky to accomplish that much, to get all that stuff off us. Now the Germans, they would have lost some aircraft taking out that aircraft carrier of ours. But we don't have any boats left up there at the start of this turn. Now, let's get back to this turn. We have, I just got to reset these guys here. We got to take a look at this. Now, we still cannot take out Alexandria, which is kind of a drag because we're not going to get our national objective this turn. But that's fine. We're going to take out Africa, but we're going to do it methodically. So we're going to set up defense on here, but we're going to take out these guys down here as much as possible. We can start with these guys here. We got 2 transports. We can bring 4 things over. Let's bring our best attack guys. We got a tank and we got a artillery piece. And then we've got what we'll bring down 2 infantry as well. Let's put a creepy crawly guy up here on Persia. Okay, so then we're going to be able to take that out. No problem. We got that cruiser for the landing shot. And also, we could probably use these planes here. Let's use this plane, 1, 2, down here. And then this fighter we're not going to use because we're going to fly him back to India. Or he's going to make his way back there. So these planes here, they're going to take out the boats. And let's be generous and say they got 1 hit. That's being generous. We probably still have that fighter left, but let's just take him off anyway. What I did was I took off the 2 boats they had left and a fighter. All those 3 planes were in that attack. Okay, now let's lose these Italians down here. And we were generous last time. Let's just lose 1 infantry this time because we were hitting it with. We're probably going to take them out on the first shot. Okay. Oh, this is down here. Sorry. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like at the end of your attacks on this turn. We're not doing anything up in the UK. Hopefully, we're not going to do anything for a while. We won't need to do anything if the German player behaves himself and keeps attacking Russia. So our non-combat moves. Remember, we had these things here. So let's go 1, 2 down to C zone 82. Can't forget about those guys because we want to get them down there by the end of the 3rd turn. We've got these 2 guys here. Let's split them up. Make it hard for this guy here. And we should be able to take him out on the very next turn. And then let's move this guy over to Iraq. Let's move this guy over to Persia. Get them a little closer. We might as well move this over. He's not doing us any good there. Now, we're not going to move any more off of India. I don't think we need to, but you could if you wanted. But we're just going to have to get them back there. So let's not bother taking anybody off there. We're building a wall there. The Japanese will be there soon enough. So have we finished our non-combat? Oh, we're not finished our. So these planes are in the water here. They went 1 space. What we want to do is we want to keep them within striking distance of sea zones up here, so the Italian player cannot build any boats. So let's just put them there. Now they won't be able to hit that because they don't have any transports and they can't walk through Egypt with guys sitting there. So that's what we're going to do with those planes there. We're going to put them all right there, and those planes are going to help us. We've got all kinds of planes. Oh, this one has to fly too. This one has to fly back. So let's move him here. 1, 2. You know what? Let's move one of these 5. We don't need that many. We went 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll land him on Persia, and he's going to fly his way back to India as well. Okay? So that's the way it looks. There is no non-combat moves. Likely this transport's going to be dead. If it's not, great. We'll take that back to Canada, but you probably lost that transport that was up there. It'd be crazy not to take it out. We've moved everything we can down here. We're checking out here to see. We don't want to go into China unless we have to. Chinese players should be able to hold on to that for a couple of turns by himself. If not, then we're going to take him out. If they do try to take Shan State, then we're going to take Shan State back. We have the fighter there that can help us out with that. Yeah, that's about it, I think. So, we're going to put our stuff on. Remember, we bought 6 infantry here. And on the other side here, we bought this fighter. Let's put him in South Africa. And we bought this here. We have the complex and the naval base on Persia. Now, you could put that complex in Iraq if you wanted. You could think, oh, that'd be closer to Africa. But if you're closer to Africa, you're further from India. Or you could put it here if you wanted to. No, you couldn't put it there. Sorry, that's not worth anything. But you could put it here if you wanted to. And some players like to do that. I don't, because I want to be as close to India as I can, because the main purpose of putting it here, I mean, early in the game, it's to take out Africa, but you're going to take Africa after about the fourth or fifth turn, and you're going to keep it for the rest of the game. As long as you remember to keep an air force down here to keep any Italians boats out of the water. The Americans will be here in a couple of turns, and so that should be the end of that for the Italians. So what your main job is going to be at that point now, you're going to be here in Persia, and you can walk guys over here to India. So you're going to be buying stuff here, and you're going to be buying stuff here. And we're going to do a three transport shuck. And I'm going to show you what that is, and this is going to work beautifully. So now on the next turn, you're going to have these guys down here, and these guys are going to come down here, right? Let's keep the boats up here, because those are going to help out in case they decide to put, you know what, let's put one over here just to be safe over in Persia. And these boats here, along with the aircraft, they're going to keep the Mediterranean clear. So we've got three transports. They might all be down here, a couple of them might be up top, whatever. So every turn we're going to buy three things for the Union of South Africa. Let's just get over this thing here. So let's say we start out with 3 dudes. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it's a tank. Depending on how much money you have, you might have to go with a tank, or an artillery, or a mechanized infantry, depending on what you're going to use them for. But the thing is, with 2 transports, you're going to have to bring 2 infantry and 2 other things. So what's going to happen now? Sorry, we had one too many infantry there. We have 2 infantry and a tank. So one turn, we bring up 4 things. So these are gone. Oh, sorry, no, wrong. We're going to take up 1 transport, not 2. And we're going to take this and this. So now we have an infantry left over. So what we're going to buy now, we're going to switch around. We're going to buy 1 infantry and 2 things. Let's just call it a mech and a tank. So you're going to switch around. One turn you're going to buy 2 dudes. The other turn you're going to buy 2 mechanical things. And then 2 dudes, then 2 mechanical things. Because then the next turn you're going to take up the 2 transports and bring 1 back. And you're going to take up 2 dudes and 2 things. 2 mechanical pieces. And then you bought 2 dudes and a tank down here again. So then a dude and a tank go up, and then you bought a dude and 2 tanks, then you got 2 tanks. You know, like, it just keeps going that way. You keep buying, so you have 6 things here, which is 3 dudes and 3 mechanical pieces, like a tank, and a mechanized infantry, or an artillery. You buy 6 things every 2 turns, and you've got 3 transports every 2 turns. 1 turn is 2 transports. The other turn is 1 transport. And you just keep doing that. Just because you've got 1 transport there, don't say, oh, I only need 2 things. Buy 3 things, because the next turn you're going to have 2 transports, and you're only going to be able to buy 3 things. So keep buying 3 things every single turn, and you will have 6 things there every 2 turns. You'll have 6 transports there every 2 turns. Now, when you're coming up here, that's South Africa. Now, when you're coming up here, you can put your stuff here. You can put it here. You can put it here in Iraq, or you could bring the transports over. At first, you're probably coming up here and going to Egypt. You can put your stuff in Egypt, attack Egypt from there. But when you're coming up the other way, if what you're planning on doing is going to India, you don't have to land your stuff on Persia there. You could land it on Eastern Persia. So that's a shorter walk to India. Put your stuff there, then you've only got 2. If it's a tank that moves to, then you can get it over in 1 turn. If it's an artillery or an infantry, then it's going to take you 2 turns to get over. Don't worry about, like, it'll be a road going down this way. There will be constantly guys going this way, perhaps guys going this way. But then there's a third leg of that, and that is, how is Russia doing? right? Because the Italian player, now that you've taken out the Mediterranean and you've taken away any chance of him ever building a navy down there, they're going to try to bring their stuff up there. Let's just bring one tank up there. They're going to try to come up here, and the goal is going to be Ukraine first, and they're going to move along the south with the Germans, right? Okay, so you're going to counter that. You're shucking stuff over to India, but you can also come up here, right? You can make your way to the Ukraine as well. And I can't tell you what to do exactly right now, because you've got to be able to see the game. You've got to be able to react to the game that you're playing. But you're either going to bring stuff to India, or you're going to bring it to Africa, or you're going to bring it to Russia. If I'm going to Russia, what I like to do is to take mech and mechanized infantry and tanks, because they can make it up there faster. I like to wait till the last minute before I do that. You're going to want to take this out because you can't blitz through it. So at some point in the near future, maybe even this turn, actually with this guy, instead of last turn going there, let's go there. Let's have him crawl over to northwest Persia. See, now you can blitz through there. That's 1. 2 turns you're in the Ukraine. You can see those guys coming. In 2 turns you can be in the Ukraine, or you can be in Stalingrad. You can get close to Moscow. And fighters, you're going to be building lots of fighters on Persia to fly to India. But the other thing you can do, if Russia is really in dire straits and Germany is knocking at the door here, you can fly fighters up there. You could buy 3 fighters with your income if Russia was in big trouble. 3 fighters, put them on Persia. Next turn, they're sitting up there. That's going to be a lot harder for them to take that, especially if you put, say, 5 or 6 fighters on in 2 turns. That's going to be a lot harder for them to take out Russia as the German and the Italian players if you're flying those fighters up there. You've already secured the Middle East. You've already taken Africa by then. The Americans are over here. And you've built a wall over here. You're continuing to build dudes over here, and you're continuing to walk dudes over here. Now, at some point, strategic bombing raids are probably going to take over here. So let's say that you have max damage on your complex there. Let me just get a couple of more chips here. So you can damage a major complex up to 20 points of damage, and you're only getting, probably by the time that happens, you're probably only getting 7 IPCs. So why bother paying it down? Why bother paying it down to 13? Don't do anything. Don't buy anything. Just hang on to that money. Wait until, 2, 3, 4 turns when you've got more than 20 IPCs, and then pay it down and buy some stuff, and then he bombs you again. See, if he's got nothing to bomb, then why bother bombing you, right? Once he's taken it down to 20, there's nothing else he can do to you. He can bomb your air bases if you want. He can bomb your naval base if you want. You don't really need those. You don't have any boats here to protect. If you're putting boats in Sea Zone 39, you're going to lose them because the Japanese Navy's there. Now, if the Japanese Navy wants to come after you over here, then they're going to get themselves way out of position. And then the American and the Anzac, they can take advantage of that. So this is not too far out of position. This is way too far out of position. So leave Sea Zone 39 empty. Then you don't need your air base. Let them bomb the hell out of you here, if that's what they're going to do. Just save your money. But if it looks like, if they're sitting here and they've got boats coming in and it looks like there's a chance they could take you out, make sure you spend that money. You do not want to be saving money and then lose your complex, because then you have to give them all that money. So spend your money when it looks like you're going to be taken out. Otherwise, just hang on to it if you've got max damage or even close to max damage on your industrial complex. That'll help you out. And you're not building any more units, but you're building your units here, you're building them in South Africa, and you're walking them over to here. This works, believe me. I've done this strategy a number of times, and you can hold out here for quite a while. In fact, it's been a few games since Japan has been able to breach this. And when they do, there's not much left over. They're going to have, let's say, 5, maybe 6 units left over after they breach it. Because you got to remember, you're going to have a bunch of fighters here. You'll probably have 5 fighters by the time they go to attack this. And so that's 4 or 5 at 4, depending on how many you have there. So you're going to be able to take off lots. You're going to have about 30 infantry or so by then, and you're going to have a number of shots with those fighters to take down their units. So when they do get this, remember, you've got a road coming down here with units all along it, and you can probably take it back. Japan is going to spend all of their IPCs taking out China and then trying to get that. And remember from the previous video, the American video, this is what they need. After Calcutta, they need to take out either Sydney or Honolulu, and if you force them to use every resource they have just to take out Calcutta, that's how you win the game. Remember, the game is played here on Eurasia. That's where you want to be. By now, you've got your 4-lane highway from America over to southern France, and they're bringing dudes over, and you're holding out here. You're helping out Russia. You've got Africa. That's how you're going to win the game. Or die trying. You might lose the game because they are powerful. Let's face it, they do have the advantage in the game. But if you're going to win, this is how you're going to do it. By building a wall in India, by taking out the Middle East first, so you can get that complex on as soon as possible and start shucking troops all 3 ways. There you go. There you have it. That is my UK strategy. Give it a try. Keep building your fighters. Keep building everything and shucking troops. And hopefully it'll work for you as well as it does for me. I mean, if you watch my German video that I just made a week or 2 ago, you saw that I was bringing boats down into the Mediterranean as the German player, which isn't the best idea because it forces you to not do a J1 attack. That's why I brought those boats down there. That's why I was even thinking about trying a way to get German boats to the Mediterranean, is because this strategy keeps kicking the Allies or the Axis ass over and over and over again. With between Great Britain and the United States. I need to find some way to break that up as the Axis player. So maybe you can try this and maybe it works for you, and your friends are going to have to find another way to beat you, because it's a pretty powerful strategy. You're playing the long game, you're dragging it out 10, 12, 14 turns, and by then you won't believe how many units you'll have in this area down here as a British player. Like planes and ground units. After that many turns, you're going to have a ton of them down here. And honestly, you're going, okay, what should I buy now? I mean, then you can start building boats and stuff. And the other thing I forgot to mention is, around about turn number 9 or 10 or so, when you've got all this shucking going on and you've got a lot of units built up, you can bring your transports to here. And then in concert with the Americans, you can make an assault. You can go to Greece, you can go to Rome, you can go to northern Italy. There's a lot that you can do from down here. If you use this strategy, you just keep it to the southern half of the board. Don't worry about the UK up there. Keep your eye on it. I was talking about all this stuff down here. Every single turn, keep your eye on that. Make sure if they build something up there, you build something up there. It's okay to throw a fighter on there every second or third turn. By then, you'll have 5 or 6 fighters up there by the time Germany gets desperate and decides to turn around because they haven't been able to take Moscow, or even if they have taken Moscow, then you've got 5 or 6 planes up there. And if they bomb the shit out of you, just like India, who cares? You've got all your stuff on there. Don't spend your money taking off all that damage. They're just going to do it again. Just leave it. You don't need to put any more on there. And if you do need to put any more on there, then sure, spend the money up there. Otherwise, just leave it. Just keep spending your money like I showed you. 3 guys here. 3 guys here. Shucking. Planes. Just keep doing that. That's my UK video. Do those things for the Americans and the British. See how that works out for you. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.